Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let's get you guys in here. Make sure you guys can all hear me. You guys know what it is. My name is Gil. This is the American CHOLO podcast. And today we got another banger for you. Today we got the homie here. Let me put on my banner real quick so you guys can see this stuff. We got big George Salazar in the house. Mr. Guero from Varrio, Surenos, Malditos in Sanjo. Let's add him onto the stream. All right, what's going on, George?
What's up, Gil?
Another beautiful day, homeboy. Another beautiful day in the heart. We'll make sure everybody's tapping in. You hear me real quick? Right. I don't want to go on for 2 hours and then figure out that I don't have this thing public. Oh, man, what's good, homie? How's it going out there?
It's pretty good, man. You know, today had a beautiful day cleaning my backyard. You know, it feels good to clean your house, and then you stop and look at it like, damn, that's right. You know? That's right, brother. So you've been around now. You're doing the hold on, let me get this out of here so I don't have to see these comments. We'll leave the banner. You've been out there doing the rounds, right? On YouTube and sharing your story. So before we even get started, Guero, let me ask you, why are you going around telling your story? First of all. Two main reasons. The first time that I shared my story, I got a hold of Flaco from stories written by a current prisoner. I got a hold of him, and I heard him saying a spill on Upstate Surenos, and they heard their stories from their homeboys, and I guess they never heard a story from a Sureño from up there.
Right.
You know, and I wanted to share my story, how we started, why we became Sureños, because a lot of people say, like, why are they trying to be like people from LA? You know, and we're not. We never tried to be like nobody. We just started banging Sur 13 because that's something that the Norteños hated. And we found out they didn't like Sur. We found out they didn't like 13. And they were oppressing our the Paisas, the Mexicans. And we just started banging that because of that. And that was one of the main reasons why I want to share my story. And the second reason, the main reason is because I fell into that pattern, into a lifestyle, into that web with a different mentality. And I never knew the consequences that were going to come with it. And when I realized it, I was already doing prison time. And I was able to get out of the lifestyle. I was able to walk away from it in good standing and do something productive with my life.
Okay,
that's the journey I want to share.
So let's start now from the beginning. Where were you born and raised at, Guero?
I was born in Mexico.
Okay.
And I was raised in San Jose. They brought me here when I was about a year and a half. Me trajeron a San Jose when I was a year and a half, and my family came here in the late 70s, early 80s, and they brought me here on 83, 84, right? And I was raised in San Jose, California.
Okay, so you're there at San Jose, California. When did you really start kind of realizing that there was gangs in San Jose? Did it take you a while, or did you guys grow up in that area?
We grew up in a gang-infested area, and it was mainly Norteños. But
okay.
my uncles, I started seeing gang activities when I was around 8 years old. I had two uncles that were into lowrider cars. They used to like painting cars, and they used to paint cars for their homeboys and lowrider bikes and all that stuff.
Right.
But my uncles had barely came from Mexico as well, and I remember the first time I seen a gang activity and gang violence was right there in my grandma's house. My uncle, we all lived there. All my tios and tias and primos, we all lived cramped up in the house, right? In the early 80s, 85, 86. And I remember seeing a rock with a red paño tied around it. Boom, just flew in through our living room. And there was a rock with a red paño tied in, and there was screaming, "Scrapas, you wetbacks," and it was a whole bunch of Norteños, you know, picking on my uncles. And
now, were your uncles gang related at the time, or they were just like lowrider guys?
They were not gang related at all. And,
okay.
They just like the lowrider bikes and the lowrider cars. They saw that, and my uncle has talent. Right now, they own two body shops. So they painted the cars, and they were doing stuff for the lowrider bikes and their friends that they lived around the block. But most of their friends spoke Spanish, and they were Mexicans, and they didn't even bang at all. They just were getting picked on.
Now, do you think these guys believed they were Southsiders, or do you think they were just kind of bullying them because they weren't Norteños?
I mean, that's a question I would like to ask them, but
Right.
I believe it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
One, they knew they were different, they were not like them, and two, they were gonna bully them because they could, you know.
Right. Okay, so now you get your first experience with that as a little kid, right? Typically, and I don't know if that's your case, but typically what happens is once you hit about the junior high era is when you kind of start dabbling with gangs and dealing with them more on a personal level. Is that the same thing with you?
Exactly what happened to me when I went to sixth grade. There was already sixth, seventh, and eighth graders, right? And I see all these little norteños. They were back in the days in the early '90s. The norteños in San Jose, they used to dress with Ben Davis, Cortezes, and all choloed out. And I would see them punk on the paisas, the paisas that were coming from Mexico that didn't speak Spanish. I would see them call them scraps, wetbacks, and I was like, and I would see them wearing red paños. I was like, these are the same guys that were throwing red paños on my
Okay.
uncles.
Okay. All
I
right.
was like, so these motherfuckers are the ones. So I started having hate towards them, and I said to myself, I'm gonna gather up all these paisas right here, and we're gonna get these fools. We're gonna get them. So that's when it started. That's how it all started.
Now, how many paisas did you guys get together? I mean, how did you approach the guys?
I approached the guys because I would see them get spit on and stuff like that, you know, and I would go and talk to them and be like, hey, don't be letting these motherfuckers do that to you, you know? And they would be like, no, pero es que son bien muchos y se aprovechan. Le digo, no te agüites, vato. Le digo, te vas a juntar tú conmigo, vamos a agarrar a fulano tal, this fool and this fool and this fool. And I would tell them, this fool already got my back and this fool got my back. So like, we're going to get these guys.
All right.
So, you know? And they were like, all right, all right. And I gathered like 30 paisas. But
Oh
out
shit.
of the 30, none of them were down because they weren't into that. But there was like 5 solid ones, you know? And
Yeah.
at that time, that's all I needed. I'm like, as long as I have 5 solid guys, vámonos recio. And we would get at it. By the time I was in 8th grade, I was already in a gang. We had formed a gang. I had my primo that was 2 years older than me. And the street that I lived on, there was across the house from my house, there was a house, there was like 6 brothers. And next to their house, there was another house that had primos and brothers, like about 8 of them. And in that little block, I still remember the day that they formed the Varrio. I was 12 years old, and all these other guys were like 14, 13, 14. And we're trying to look for the name, and we're like, Varrio this, Varrio that. And we ended up with doing a Varrio Sureño Mexicanos, right? Because we were Mexicanos, and we knew that the Norteños hated Sur. So we're like, okay, we're going to call it Sureños Mexicanos. And we're going to throw the 13 on it too. So it was Varrio Sureño Mexicanos 13, you know? And we started forming it. And next thing you know, the same story that was happening to me in that middle school, it was going on around other middle schools and high schools.
Okay.
So a lot of pockets from Sureños were forming all over San Jose. And I would go to juvenile hall and I would come across 1 or 2 Sureños there. And we would start clicking up. Hey, we live over here on the east side. Well, we live on the west side. And we'll start just starting to click up, organize. You
Right.
know? And next thing you know, we just started getting deeper
Now,
and deeper.
now, when you guys took on the Sureño name, the Trece name, I'm sure you guys had really no clue what it was. All you guys knew that the Norteños didn't like it. Is that what it was? You guys didn't you guys weren't talking to anybody from LA or anything like that, right?
Not at all. I didn't even know anybody from LA. I didn't even know what sur meant. I didn't even know what presa meant.
Right.
I didn't
Right.
know. I didn't know. I had to learn it little by little. I found out what the 13 means, what the SUR stands for, what the 3 dots. Man, I started learning all that after, you know. But all I knew is that I hated a certain group. That's all I knew. And I knew that they sported red, that they banged Norte, that they banged 14. And I knew what they hated. So I wanted to throw it all up on their face, what they hated, you know. And I wanted to gather up a group and let them know, hey, man, you can't be doing this shit to us. We're going to turn around. And that's how it started.
So when because I'm sure at first some of these guys thought, nah, these guys are a fucking joke. They're not a real gang because you got more established gangs. That's anywhere. When was the time that you guys probably put your stamp down where these guys know, fuck, these guys ain't playing around, man. They're for real.
Yeah, I think it was mid '90s, like around '95.
Okay.
In '95, it was just probably 94. I say 94, 95.
Right.
By that time, there was already like at least 10 barrios, and and in all those barrios, they had at least 30 to 40 heads each barrio de Sureños.
Okay.
Out of those 30 or 40 heads, they all had at least 5 or 10 solid motherfuckers that didn't give a shit. Que les valía madre la vida. They were like, fuck it, we die, vámonos recio.
That's usually how it is.
That's how it was, you know, and that's all we needed at the time. So they started taking it serious when it would be Cinco de Mayo weekends, and all the Sureños from San Jose would gather up and say, pum, pum, at tal hora, tal día, all the norteños are going to be a certain area. We're just going to creep up on them, and les vamos a dar a la madre. And we would go to places where they would gather up. There was this famous place on Story and King in San Jose. Anybody who's familiar with San Jose and the Story and King was cruising night, boulevard nights. So they would post up on a 7-Eleven, and there were the lowrider cars that would be deep right there. But next to 7-Eleven, there was a little school that was called Miller, and we would gather up right there, like 50, 60 heads deep. And we would come out of the cuts and just start bombing on these guys with bats, chains, bricks. Would start breaking their windows on their cars, getting on their cars, ripping their seats, and we would get down with them, and it was big old riots. And I think that's when they started seeing like, oh shit, these motherfuckers are serious. Like they ain't playing around. So they started shooting at us, boom, 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 boom. So we're like, hey, we gotta step up our game too. We started getting straps and everything, and next thing you know, like by 96, 97, there was bodies getting dropped from both sides.
Wow. Yeah. So that's when you started seeing the gunplay really kick up in San Jose in like the mid 90s.
Yeah, mid 90s. By the time 97, 98, it was shooting. And by 97, 98, there was not as many norteños walking around with the red paños hanging or their Mongolians. Because in the early 90s, you would see them everywhere with their Mongolians in the back of their head, or the red paños or the red belt, or all flamed up. They would walk around like nothing. It was something normal to see in San Jose.
Right.
But by the like 97, 98, that changed, because when we would see them like that, we would get off the cars and do what we had to do: drop a body, take him out, beat him up, rush him, whatever. And they would do the same thing to us, you know. But now they were aware. They were like, oh shit, it's not that easy anymore to carry a red paño without getting jumped, without getting shot, without getting stabbed.
Now, were you guys also pushing? Because from what I noticed, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like the guys, the Southsiders from up north, upstate homies. I don't know. First of all, is upstate homie disrespectful to you guys? Because that's what I put on the thing, and that's usually what we would call you, I guess, refer to you guys. Or upstate Sureños.
It's not disrespectful at all. It's a name that was put out there to us, and the homies embraced it. They embraced it upstate. I guess it shows a difference from down south Sureños, you know, because I agree. We are different. We started different. Our gang banging up north is way different than Southern California. I mean, over here we didn't gang bang against Sureños, and we always gang bang only against the norteños, and that was it.
Now, is that true to today? You guys don't bang against other Southsiders out there, or has that changed in the years?
That changed. The Sureños were in too deep, and that's a story that happens all the time amongst us, amongst Mexicans. Once we get a little bit of power, once we're strong, we start self-destructing. We start self-destroying ourselves.
Yes, sir.
And that changed in the early 2000s. I seen it happen. I lived it. I myself took over a Sureño barrio. My barrio, we took over a Sureño barrio. We smashed on them. We rushed them. We disappeared them out of the map, and we took over the territory.
But looking back on that, Guero, isn't that, and not saying you're a hypocrite or anything, your homies are, but isn't that a little bit hypocritical of us? I'm saying us as brown men, that you guys started off against the oppression of the northern guys that were picking on you guys in school, and now you guys are doing the same thing to another hood that's supposed to be banging the same thing you're supposed to be banging.
Exactly. Nowadays, I think about it. That's what I'm saying. I think about it. I'm like, oh shit, the damn story just keeps on repeating itself.
Yes, sir.
I mean, if you hear the norteños, why they started, they say the same thing, because they were being oppressed.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Then, and then you hear the stories from the upstate Sureños, and why? Because we were getting oppressed. And then we ourselves, Sureños from San Jose, started taking over another hood. For whatever reason it was that we had the conflict with this barrio, one little thing sparked it up to where like, okay, motherfuckers, we're gonna show you who we are, and we're gonna take you out of this barrio, and we're taking over, and we did, and we became the bully as well. We became the persons that we hated. We became them because
now
we
going
have power now.
now going back to the mid 90s when it 96, 97, you said the gunplay is going high. Now I was referring to my original question. Do you guys, the upstate homies, because I know I don't know for a fact, but I'm pretty sure by seeing the internet and everything else, Norteños would be flamed out. Like, you guys would really play that color card very hard. Would you guys in your neighborhood play that color card really hard? Because down here, yeah, homies would wear a little bit of blue here and there, but it wasn't, to me, when I see North and South fighting up there, it's almost like a Crip or Blood type thing where you guys really represent that certain color. Were you like that when you were young?
Yes, that was the main thing. We wanted to sport the blue as much as we could. We wanted to sport the sur and the 13 as much as we could, our barrios. We had everybody up here has their 3 dots on their hands, on their face. You know, the homies started blasting big old 1-3s on the back of their heads, sur on their eyebrow, blue paños. Our cars were blue. That was the main thing. We're gonna throw it in their face what they hated. You know, that was the plan. We're gonna throw it in your face what you hate, and we're gonna bust your eyes. You know, and I mean, right now in San Jose, you go to the mall or just down the street, you see the homies all blued up, you know, or tattoos on their head.
Now, do you guys bang Sanjo also? Is that you guys rep that?
Yes, we embraced that in the mid '90s as well. In the mid '90s as well, because before they didn't. The only thing that we banged was the Varrio and Sur 13. That was it. The Varrio you were from and Sur 13. That's all we banged. But you know, homies started going upstate, and over there it doesn't matter what Varrio you're from. They want to know where you're from, what city you're from. So it was a conflict with the first homies that went upstate. You know, one of the homies had to do something in order for us to be able to represent Sanjo.
Right.
One of the homies went upstate. He had a big old Sanjo on his chest.
Oh,
and,
shit.
Yeah, he had a Sanjo on his chest, and the Norteños were like, the Norteños were mad.
Right? Of course.
So the Norteños wanted to get this guy really, really bad, but he was also a Sureño. So the Sureños from down south, they were like, hey, you ain't gonna touch this vato. He's representing Sur 13. So anyway, the homies had to take care of some business up in there in order for us to be able to represent Sanjo. And once those things got dealt with, the homies took care of business in there. Then everybody's like, hey, boom, de aquí en adelante, Sanjo. Everybody represents Sanjo. So now everybody from San Jose, I got Sanjo tatted up on me. Everybody got the shark logo. That's what we represent, Sanjo.
Wow. So is there? What would you say? Now the San Jose is that a county or that a city? First of all,
it's a city.
Okay. Now in San Jose, what would you say the makeup of Norteño and Sureño gangs are breaking it into like 100%, 50-50, 60-40?
No, right now still Norteño, San Jose is still dominant by Norteños.
Okay. Now what percentage would you say?
They're greater in numbers. They have 60% maybe, and I say 65% Norteños, and I say 35% Sureños.
Okay. So when you guys hit the county over there, are you guys separate in the county?
Yeah, they segregate us. They put us in a tank where there's nothing but pure Sureños. There's nothing but Sureños.
Okay. So now let's keep going into your story. You're 96. How old are you on 96, 97?
What, like 13, 14?
Okay, so you're a young kid. You're out there banging. When does your neighborhood turn from Varrio Sureño Mexicans to Varrio Sureño Malditos?
I think that happened in 96. In 96, there was a lot of barrios in San Jose. They all had the Mexicanos or Paisanos title on it.
Right.
We had VPLs, which was Barrio Paisano Locos. They had to switch it up to a Barrio Peligroso Locos. Then we had a VTM, which was Barrio Terreno Mexicano. They had to switch it up to SPV, which is Sureños por Vida. Then us, and anybody who had their name on their barrio that was Sureño, that had Mexicanos, Paisanos, or Latinos had to change the abbreviation because of prison politics. Either you were
Right.
Sureño or you were Paisa.
Gotcha.
So a lot of the homies
Gotcha.
started going upstate. We had our names with Mexicanos. They were like, so what are you guys? Are you guys Paisas or are you guys Sureños? Are you going to bang this? And that changed in 96.
Hey, so you guys, man, you guys are a whole different breed. You guys had to deal, first of all, with being Southsiders up north in San Jose. Then you got to go to the joint and deal with, hey, homie, San Jose is not a Southsider yet. And then you got to deal with, hey, but you guys can't be banging the Mexican parts. You guys got a whole bunch of things you guys got to deal with when you first started off, right?
Yeah, it was a whole bunch of things. I mean, when I went to the feds the first time, the same thing. Even with the homies from down south, I remember walking into the pod and they were like, "You're a homie." And I was like, "Simon." They were like, "Where you from?" I was like, "Sanjo," right? And there was a little youngster. He was like about 19, 20. Tell your mommy. He's like, "But ain't some." He knew there were Sureños already. He knew, but because by that time we were already deep, right? So this
Right.
was in 2004, 2005. He was like, "But ain't Sanjo up north?" I was like, "Yeah, that's way up north, you know." But I told him, "But we're banging Sur Tres up there," and he was trying to give me a little bit of shit, you know. But
Right.
I had to deal with that kind of stuff at the beginning, you know. But little by little, the older homies they would tell me, the older homies from down south, they would be like, "Hey, don't even trip, little homie. We got your back. We'll talk to these little youngsters." Because the little youngsters, they would always try to give us that little look at the beginning, you know. But things started changing. Now my last prison term was in 2009, and by that
How,
time,
how, how many times did you go to prison?
I went to the feds once and to prison twice.
Okay, so how many years you doing the feds?
One, just
Okay,
1 year.
for what?
Es un caso federal que estaba peleando my legal status.
Okay.
And at that time, en ese lugar, because they had caught me with weapons and firearms, so
Right.
I had to go over there to fight that case and also my legal status as well, which I ended up beating. But at
Wow.
that time, there was a pod where they had people that were sentenced. So you had people that were fighting cases for that and people that were sentenced for drugs and arms and all that stuff, you know?
Right.
So I was there for a year.
And then your prison terms, how many years you do?
They were both 18 months each.
Okay. And how was your first prison experience as being a upstate homie?
Oh, check it out. My first prison experience was cool. I didn't make it out of the reception. I was in reception the whole time because usually you go to reception like for 3 or 4 months and then they ship you out to your place. But at this time, the reception was it was full and they were backed up on shipping people out to their place. And I did all my time in reception in San Quintin. And right there, they were sending all the homies from Northern California. There were Sureños from San Francisco, Napa, Eureka, Sacramento, Richmond. So right there in the reception, it was 90% homies from upstate and only 10% from homies from down south.
All right. So and then you get out when you get out of the joint the first time out of the feds, right? How old are you at that time?
Like 24.
And what's your mentality? Are you coming out thinking I'm gonna do good right now, or are you still not giving a fuck?
No, I'm still not giving a fuck. At that time, my mentality was like, all right. And I had more game and more knowledge on things, right? Because I was hanging around with older homeboys and they were giving me more lecha and how to organize crime, how to talk to little homies, how to organize, how to recruit. So when I came out in 2004 from the feds, 2004, 2005, I come out with that mentality. Okay, I'm going to organize crime. I'm going to get this shit going on. And I had heard that my Varrio was already kind of like slowing down, you know?
Right.
And I said, fuck that shit. Once I get out, I'm going to get everybody together.
That's what happens.
Call up a meeting, right? Call up a meeting, gather up everybody. And I told each homie that was coming to a meeting, I want each one of you guys to bring 2 vatos with you.
That's right.
So they all come, and they come with 2 vatos, and I told them, make sure these vatos are down. And I bring them into the meeting, and then in that meeting, we jumped in like 15 homies in that meeting, right? We jumped them in the barrio. Our barrio's deep, and I'm throwing all this
rules and regulations.
Yeah, rules and regulations, telling the homies, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that.
Yeah.
This and this has to happen. We're gonna take care of the homies that are locked up and whoop-de-whoop. And we're just organizing crime. So that's what happened from 2000 2004 to 2009, it was crazy in San Jose. There was, I think 2007 was one of the times that there was more the murder rate was the highest on
Right.
both sides. The Norteños were dropping bodies, and the Sureños were dropping bodies as well.
So then when so you got you hit another prison term after that. When did you hit that one? 2009?
No, yeah, 2009. Well, I went back to the county for something stupid. I think I did like 6 months in the county. I got out,
Right.
and then in 2000 and no, I went to prison 3 times. I didn't
Okay.
count my violation.
You
My
forgot one
violation-
prison term.
yeah. I forgot my violation. I had a violation in 2007.
Okay.
In 2007, I go on a violation. I did like 4 months, 4 or 5 months, something like that. And then from there, I get out, and I organized something else as well. At that time, there was no girls in my barrio. There was no girls allowed in my barrio. But at that time, in 2007, there was these 3 homegirls that they were hella crazy. They eran cueteras, and one of them was married to one of the homeboys from the barrio. And I was with my homeboy Cyclone. He's a lifer. He was doing life, and we were in San Quintin. He was in there for reception. They were going to ship him out to another prison, and I was there for the violation. So we were in the cell, and I told him, hey, ¿sabes qué, Cyclone? When I get out, I'm going to get these 3 hyenas in the barrio. And these hyenas are down, and I'm going to start bringing in hyenas to the barrio. Whatever, you know, I don't know why I thought of that. But I thought of that.
You're trying to recruit. You're trying to recruit, oh boy.
I'm just trying to recruit, do whatever I can. So I came out, and I talked to my homeboy who was married to his wife, and I told him, hey, check it out, man. Your hyena's fucking down. She's always over here is cuetera la hyena. She don't give a fuck, this and that. Hey, métela al barrio. He said, oh, Simón, güero. Like, yeah, fuck yeah. And I told him, let's talk, la maldita también y la twister. So la maldita la twister, they're fucking crazy as fuck. They don't give a fuck, you know? We need hyenas like that in the barrio. And then they're going to be in charge of the hyenas we're going to bring in. And the homies were like, fuck yeah, fuck yeah. So we jumped in those 3 homegirls to the barrio. Next, like a month later, we have like 15 homegirls, crazy as fuck, you know? And yeah, we just started expanding and gangbanging to the fullest. And in 2009, this is how organized we were in my barrio. My barrio, we have, out of all these years, we have had only one dead homie from my barrio. They got killed by the Norteños.
Right.
Only one. That's it. And he died in a shootout. He died in a shootout. He went and blasted some Norteños, and Norteños had guns too, so they shot at each other. There was a big group of Norteños, my homeboys. So they shot him in the eye. He died, but he killed the one Norteño, left 2 injured before he died, right? So we were organized. We were always strapped up. Siempre teníamos que estar cuidando el barrio.
Yeah.
And, we're always on the lookout. We had people on the front keeping an eye out. I mean, we were organized, right? In that little barrio we're in. So we
how was your neighborhood? Describe it for me. Is it apartments? Is it houses? Is it blocks? I mean, how is your neighborhood? How close is your rival's neighborhood or other rivals that you got nearby you?
So my neighborhood originally started on King and Story, in the heart of the Norteño barrios all around it. And it was on a little court, on a little street called Cortez Avenue, and there's a little school right there. So it's un vecindario, just a little block, and there's a school on the corner. And that's where we all used to hang out in the night. And that little school, in the back, there's big old trees, trailers, and it was dark. So that's where we were all posted up right there. And that's where we would go and kick it and drink and get high and whatever. And we had couches back there, and by the trailers, eran like containers. They were abandoned containers. So we would go there on the cuts. And during the day, we would be out on the street, just posted up right there. But when it would get dark, because we were doing more illegal activities like doing drugs and drinking and whatever, cleaning our guns or whatever, we would go to the dark, right?
Right.
And then in 2004, we moved to the apartments where I told you we took over the other barrio.
Oh, okay.
Because a lot of my homies started living in those apartments, and we would always go and kick it there to those apartments. So we would be kicking in the parking lots. But there was a little barrio there. There was a little barrio there before, and they started tripping. They were like, "Hey, everybody thinks this is your barrio, and you guys are trying to take over." Like, Nah, homie, we ain't trying to take over. I mean, a lot of my homies from Varrio, they're just moving. They moved here. They live here. So we come and kick it here. So one day, these guys started to get crazy, and they just drove up on us, and they started throwing rocks and breaking our windows, and they jumped two of my homeboys. And me and my homies were like, oh, okay, these motherfuckers getting pedo. Okay.
Right.
And we knew we were going to take him out because we were already strong. We were deep. Estos morros, they were barely starting to grow, I guess.
Right.
And we smashed on them. We told them, you know what? This ain't your barrio anymore. This is our barrio. And whenever we see you guys, we're going to fuck you guys up. And that's what we did. We bullied them. We took advantage of that.
You know what we're horrible at, Guero? We're horrible at business skills sometimes when you're gang members. Because if you think about it, you had a crew of small guys. Instead of saying, you know what, homies, you guys could be from our barrio, keep your name, be a clique of us, but instead we kick them out and make more enemies.
That's exactly what we did, and that was a mistake. And
yes.
It was just that ego, that pride.
Yeah.
Like, you motherfuckers gonna learn, and you know, and like you said, if we would have been a little bit smarter, we could have said like, all right, man, hey, you know what, vengan pa acá, we're gonna fight with you guys together, hombro con hombro, and vénganse a usar una clica nueva, keep your barrio and unite. But we did it.
Now, I know since the original, when you started talking, how you said that they would press up on you guys because a lot of you guys were paisas and Mexicans, or, you know, straight coming, maybe first generation coming out here. Now, what percentage of your neighborhood at that time was actually, let's say, Mexican speaking only guys?
In the early 90s, mi barrio empezó en el 91.
Okay.
91. From 91 to 93, it's the first year, 91, I say 90%.
Yeah, of course, because that's what you guys were fighting for.
9%.
And then, how about in 2004 when you came out?
2004 ya éramos de todo, chicanos, gente nacida aquí en San Jose, people that were born in San Jose, you know. 2004, the paisa thing, it wasn't an issue anymore. Now it was, if you were Chicano, if you were paisa, now you can choose to be a norteño or to be a sureño. It depended what style you like. But the thing is, by 2004, the norteños were, their style changed too, because in the 90s, they were Ben Davis, Corteses, Paños, Pachucos, you know. By 2004, they were more black now. They would sag their pants. They would use the N-word, and their style changed, you know.
Right. The black culture started taking over a lot. I think maybe in San Jose, because I think and I may be wrong, and I'm sure, you know, if I'm wrong, they can correct me. I want to say the Bay Area guys were kind of like that more than anybody else at first, right?
Yeah, and I didn't see that in the Sureños until maybe 2016, 2017.
Yes.
I started seeing the Sureños do the same thing, sagging their pants, using the N-word, and dressing there. I was like, oh shit, I'm glad I'm not getting anymore.
That's why I find it funny when homies from down here be talking shit about norteños and, hey homie, those vatos are like this. I'm looking at them like, oh, your young homies are like that now too, homie. You can't use we can't use that card anymore. We're saying the norteño guys act black because everybody acts a certain point of black as far as young guys, the culture, right?
Right.
Whether you're north or whether you're south, and even to this day, you'll hear that from homies down here. But at the same card, you hear from the norteños, oh, those fools are paisas. As far as upstate sureños, that's
right.
It's just a phrase now they use to keep on fighting. It's unfortunate, man. But getting back to your story, so now you go to the joint. Let's talk about your last time you went to prison. What year was that? What'd you get busted for?
2009. I got busted on Cinco de Mayo weekend, which was because 2 weeks before that they had killed my homeboy, the one I told you, Wicked.
Okay, yes.
Wicked from Varrio. They killed him in a shootout. He died in a shootout, and 2 weeks before the Cinco de Mayo weekend. So on May 1st, which was his birthday, we were all in the cemetery. It was Friday night, May 1st, and all the homies were there like, hey, fucking mañana Cinco de Mayo. It's our time to show these norteños what they fucked up, la cagaron, so now they're gonna pay the consequences, you know.
Get that run back, homie.
Yeah, so we knew that Cinco de Mayo weekend was gonna be a good day to shoot as many as we could take down as many as we could, and we had it planned out, So the next day on Cinco de Mayo, which was a Saturday, that the next day, May 2nd, we were proceeding as we had planned, I got my straps, I had a 357 revolver, una 380 Squadra, 3 boxes of bullets, and grabbed my truck, my lady, which is my wife now, my girlfriend at the time, which is my wife now, got in my truck, and I picked up a few of my homeboys, their lady, whatever. Like I think that she was gangster as fuck, My homeboy and his lady, they're from the water already. I picked up a homeboy.
That's right.
And we go to this thing on Cinco de Mayo in the fairgrounds in San Jose. And we were gonna dance a little bit, drink a little bit, enjoy our last day. We're like, fuck this day, we're gonna die or we're gonna get locked up,
Fuck yeah.
We knew we were gonna die or get locked up because our plan was to get off and just start shooting, start blasting. And I told the homies, ¿sabes qué? Este pinche día, los norteños are gonna bust out their straps too. They know we're coming because on Cinco
of course
they knew that we would always come out of the cuts, so they know we're coming. So be ready because they're gonna shoot back, and if they don't shoot us, if they don't get us, the Jura might get us because the cops are hot that day too. So we're gonna try to get away. But I told them we're either gonna get shot, or we might die, or we might go to jail, or we might make it. We don't know. But fuck it, lo que va a pasar va a pasar. I told them they got the homie Wicked. That was the first and only homie they have killed from a barrio.
Right.
So when they would kill Surenos from other barrios, all the barrios would retaliate on the norteños, But this time to me was personal. It was my road dog, my crime partner, somebody I grew up with. I mean, we used to party together. We did a prison time together. And now this shit was serious. So I was going to try to take out as many as I could. So anyways, we get to the fairgrounds. And I don't even make it in the fairgrounds. The parole agents, they approached me. They asked me for my ID. And they saw I was on parole. They saw I was a high-risk gang member. They saw I was under the influence of alcohol already. They found the keys on my truck. They went to my truck. They found my guns. They found the bullets. They found everything. So I got locked up, right? They take me to county, and I go to prison. They gave me 18 months for that, which I was really lucky.
Of course.
For that, I was expecting 3 to 5 years at least, but they gave me 18 months, and they shoot me to Delano. I was in Delano for a couple of months, like 3 or 4 months. I was in Delano for reception. And then from there, they shot me to Salinas Valley. I ended up my time in Salinas Valley. And from right there, also with a couple of homeboys from San Jose, Surenos.
Right.
There was norteños from San Jose too. And I did a big old sanjo because I do tattoos. I did a big old sanjo. One of my homeboys from San Jose, like all his back, it's grandotote, like sanjo.
Right.
And I mean, I just did my time. That's when I came out.
So, what was your awakening moment that you came out and started changing your life? Because did you have kids at this time?
I already had 3 kids.
Oh shit! And you were still fucking trying to get it.
I was stupid. I was lost in that mentality. And
right.
That's and this is my favorite part. And this is something that to share. My awakening moment was crazy because I go into in the middle of the night. I wake up to go take a leak, right? And your toilet and your mirror, they're together, right? So I'm taking a leak, but looking at the mirror at the same time, and I see myself, and I stop taking the leak, and I get in front of the mirror, and I'm looking at myself. I can barely see myself because the mirror's all scratched up and everything. I'm looking at myself, and I looked at my surroundings, and I said, "What the fuck am I doing here?"
Yeah, homie.
Why am I in a cell with another man? Why am I in this cell de puro cemento? And I said to myself, how the fuck can I be proud of this shit?
Oh, shit, yes.
And I said, what's there to be proud of? To be in a cell with another man, have to smell whenever he takes a shit. I have to let a CO tell me when I can go to yard.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know what I can buy from canteen. And I said, my kids are out there. I don't know if they ate. I don't know if they have a roof over their heads. Yeah. And I said, what the fuck? And I said, hell no, fuck this. I said, when I get out, I got to do something different. Because I knew I had a good head on my shoulders. I knew I had good hands to build things, to do art, to do construction. I said, I gotta do something different. I told him,
Yes.
hell no, I don't plan to live the rest of my life. And I started thinking of all this shit. And then it brought me back to a moment when I got released in San Quentin from a violation. I was getting released from a violation in San Quentin in 2007 or 8, something like that. And
Right.
they put me in a holding cell, a one-man holding cell in a cage, while they get my property ready and everything, right? And in front of me, there's another cage like that. I mean, just a one-man cell cage, and they put a vato all in white. He was a gang member straight up, and I knew he was a norteño, so they put him in there. He's all shackled up, right? And I'm all shackled up, and our two one-man cells are across each other because there were like 6 of them, 3 here and 3 in the front. So they put you separately, right?
Right.
So I'm in that fucking cell in the cage, all shackled up too. And the norteño, he was a lifer. He says like, "Hey man, what prison you going to?" And then in me, I'm like, "Man, this motherfucker trying to talk to me all cool." In my head, I still have hate for them. I'm like, fuck that shit, you know. But I was like, "Yeah, I'm getting released." You know, I said it with pride, like, "Yeah, I'm getting released." And he told me, "Hey, you want to trade spots?" I was like, "Nah, man." And he engaged me into a conversation, right? I was like, "Nah, man." I told him, "Where are you going?" They were gonna send him to High Desert. So I'm going to High Desert, man. So I got no release date. I'm a lifer. And I was like, "Oh man, that's fucked up." So and then he looked at me, "Hey Gil, this is when I realized that these vatos were victims just like we were in this gang life. That he made mistakes in his life, that it was already too late for him to change."
Yeah.
But he told me, Gil, he looked at me. He told me, "Hey, little homie, so don't come back. Get out, take care of your family. So take care of your family and don't come back." And I realized, I'm like, fuck, this motherfucker speaking from his heart.
Yeah.
Like he's telling me something. And that day that I realized that when I had that awakening, it brought me to that day too. Like this other vato that was a norteño was giving me this consejo. Me estaba dando este consejo. And I started realizing, I started remembering all kinds of things, man. When I was in juvenile hall in the ranch, they sent me to a camp, and we would get visits on the weekends, right? And your jefitos could bring a homemade food, right?
Right.
And the norteños, their jefitos, they look exactly like mine.
Yeah.
Mexicanos,
Yeah.
paisas. And I would see the norteños eating the same food I was eating.
Yes, sir.
Tortillas, pozole, menudo, enchiladas. You know what I mean? And I was like, man, these are my same people. And all that started sinking into me. Like
Wow.
these vatos are raza, just like we are.
Yes, sir.
You know, but they're just lost in this world like we are.
Yes,
but we
sir.
gotta start making a change. And all that started sinking in me. While I was looking at the mirror, I was like, what the fuck am I doing here, man? I gotta fucking change this shit.
Yes, sir.
But I knew I had to do it the right way. I stayed active the whole time, my whole prison term. I maintained on the main line. I went to Salinas Valley, and there was norteños there. And I said to myself, you know what? If something pops up, I'm gonna have to jump in, no matter what. You know,
Yeah, of course.
I can't leave this shit while I'm in here. I have to write out my term, write it out. Once I get out, then just start doing the things right when I get out.
Right.
And that's what I did, man. All that stuff started sinking into me, and I did, man. That was my awakening right there.
So, how old were you when you the last time you left prison?
29.
29. And what year
No,
was that?
20, 28, 28.
And what year was that?
29, something like that. 2010.
Okay, so in 2010, you get out, you're 28, 29. All you've known for the last 10 plus years is your neighborhood, your gang. You pretty much put because your story is just like many of ours. You put your kids to the side, you put your wife to the side. It was all about the hood. How do you come out in your neighborhood now and start making that change?
So yeah, I came out. I did 16 years for my neighborhood. Out of those 16 years, I did 9 years locked up.
Right.
And that's including juvenile hall time, ranch time, county time, fed time, prison time. In total, if you add it up, I did 9 years.
Wow.
Incarcerated. And but gang banging in my barrio, everything, I did 16 years in total. So yeah, I got out of there. I got out of prison, and I just told the homies, hey, ¿saben qué? I'm gonna do a change in my life, and I owe it to my family. I said I owe it to my family. I owe it to myself, and I told them straight up. I told them straight up, hey, for 16 years, I risked my life for the barrio. For 16 years, I did time in prison. I fear no man. I told them, you guys know. I told them, but for 16 years, I also put my family to the side.
Yeah.
And I told them, it's time for me to make that change.
That's right.
So I'm going to take care of my family. I'm going to I'm going to live a righteous life from now on. Therefore, I will not participate in any criminal activity. And don't count on me for any of that shit, you know? And I started doing it right, man. I even started going to the church with my wife and the kids, got me a job, and started hanging around with the barrio. Para nada, zero. I knew that the only way I was going to be able to survive and become successful was to leave everything, todo completamente. And the people I was hanging with. You cannot do that. Hang out with the same people and try to be productive, because it's gonna get you sooner or later. And I seen it happen. I seen homies that had good jobs and they were doing good, but still try to gangbang or hang out with the homies. Next thing you know, they get locked up.
Yeah, you can't have one foot in, one foot out, because you eventually gonna slip.
Yeah, you can't. And that's what I did. I told them straight up what I was gonna do, and I let it all go behind.
How happy was your wife when she finally saw the change in you?
Yeah, I mean, because my wife, my girlfriend, she was my girlfriend.
Yes.
Who I'm married to. My wife, with my 3 kids, I lost that when I was gangbanging and all that shit.
Oh, okay.
I had lost all that. You know, my 3 kids, I gained them back once I started doing it right. Nice. Right. You know, I gained my 3 kids, and my girlfriend, which I was with when I was still gangbanging, she wrote out this prison term with me. You know, she was strong, solid, and loyal, and she used to write me, send me money and all that stuff. You know, and I used to tell her all my plans. Hey, when I get out, I want to do this and I want to do that and this and that, and she was like, me too, man. I mean, she grew up in a Christian home, in a Christian family.
Right.
She started going all bad once she met me and started hanging around with me.
You were the bad guy.
I was the bad guy. But for some reason, somehow she saw something good in me.
Nice.
You know, she saw something good in me, and she held on to that. You know, as a matter of fact, when I got locked up for those weapons, I called her from the county, and I told her, hey, you know what? I'm gonna be gone. I'm gonna be gone for a while, a couple of years. Ya estuvo.
Kick rocks.
Go find yourself another guy. You know?
Yeah, like, we all do that.
She's all like, no, hell no. I'm gonna write it out with you. And I'm like, nah. I knew I was gonna be gone for like 2-3 years at least, 3 years at least, you know. And I told her, nah, man. And she said, no, but I love you, this and that, whoop-de-whoop. And in my head, I was like, fuck that. She ain't gonna wait. A couple of months later, she's gonna write for me 2-3 months. Next thing you know, ya estuvo.
Yeah.
She wrote out my whole prison.
That's right.
And when I came out, she was the only one working. You know, when I came out, she had clothes for me. Tenía feria para mí. She had money saved up so we can buy a car. You know, and she helped me out a lot. We lived in a sala. We used to live in the living room in my mom's house.
Oh shit! All right.
Yeah, me and her, and like when I got me a little job right away. Well, not right away, like 2-3 months later, because it took me like 2 or 3 months to get me a job. And once I got a job, we were able to rent a room.
That's right.
Rent a room in her parents' house. And my 3 kids that I had, and that's one thing, she helped me out with my 3 kids as well. And we would bring them over to her house, and they would spend the night there. And she helped me out with my 3 kids. And next thing you know, I get her pregnant too, and we're doing good. Now she has 3 kids with me, so I have 6 in total.
Wow. Well, that's always a sign of a great woman that would take your kids in and not shine them on. Because there's some women that won't do that, brother. That's a great thing. So what are you doing now? What?
So I got into the union
Yes.
in 2000 and late
What union?
2010.
What
Carpenters
union?
Union.
Okay.
Carpenters Union. I got into the Carpenters Union. I started from the bottom. I started stocker scrapper, and
Like
I started
framing, or is it or concrete stuff?
framer.
Okay. Okay.
Carpenters Union for the metal stud framing.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so started from the bottom and the stocker scrapper. All I wanted to do is get in the union. Once I got in there, I knew that I was going to climb up the ladder because I had worked in construction in my teenage years. So I used to go out when I used to get out of jail, juvenile hall. Uno de mis tíos me llevaba con él a trabajar. Me decía, vente a trabajar para que no andes de vago. And I would go and help him out, and we would frame. And I liked it. I enjoyed it. I like building things, right?
That's right.
So when I got out of prison, I was like, hey, I know what I'm going to be good at, and I know what I'm going to enjoy. So I got into the Carpenters Union, and I became a metal stud framer eventually. And I started doing my own side jobs. I know how to work with wood and with metal. So I started building decks, tree houses, fences.
That's right.
Anything that has to do with wood or metal stud framing, I get it done.
That's right.
I started connecting with all these people that know electricity and plumbing, and I would get jobs. And then next thing you know, I had plumbers working for me, electricians working for me, framers, and we were still living in that one room in my suegro's house. Me and my wife.
Right.
She became my wife. Once I came out of prison, I me casé con ella de volado. Like, I'm a married
That's right.
wife.
You better. Yeah, you better.
You're staying with me, shit. So I kept her, you know, and yeah, we've been married. We got married in 2011, and like about 2010, May 2010, I believe, and we got married on June 2011. And
that's right. So how many years were you just doing the regular thing in the union and started stepping up? Because I heard now you're doing pretty damn well for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, even when I was a stocker scrapper, I was already doing side jobs. So, and I mean, I climbed up the ladder quick on the construction business, rápido. And me and my wife, we stayed living in her parents' room. We're only paying $300 for rent, you know,
right.
in her parents' room for that room. And we had a plan, we had a vision.
That's
we
right.
Said, hey, I have enough money for us to go and rent an apartment, but we're gonna spend like $2,500 a month. I told her, let's keep these $300 of rent that we're giving to your parents. We started giving them more. I would pay more, even extra. We ended up helping the parents a lot too. And we still do. But I told her, hey, for like 3 years, we're gonna live in this room.
Wow.
We're gonna stack up our chips.
Wow, that's right.
Stack them up.
That's right.
Working 6 days a week, 15 hours a day, and a lot of those hours were already in the house doing emails, phone calls with the people that were doing my work, and the owners of the houses querían what kind of design they wanted on their deck, whatever, you know. So I'm stacking up my chips, man. I'm making like $5,000 a week.
Shit, that's money. That's right.
So we're stacking them up until we could get a down payment. So
big
once
one.
I have 200 G's,
oh man,
cash, boom, we go and buy our first property. I bought my
first
house for 320 grand. I bought my first house for 320 grand.
That's right.
Yeah, and that was in 2012 when I bought it for 320 grand. And guess how much it's worth right now, Gil?
Right now it's probably about 650.
870.
Oh, yeah, it's gone up quite a bit on me.
Yeah, 870 right now. That's how much it's worth, and I bought it for 320.
That's right, brother. So I want to get a little bit more into a couple of questions with the Norteño guys, right?
Right.
Would you see Norteños having also paisas in their neighborhoods?
No, not at the beginning, and I haven't seen them at all. Well, not at the beginning, nor at my ending in 2010.
Right.
And well, now I'm not out there in the streets. I don't see them that much anymore. But I haven't seen any paisa norteños that Not in San Jose. Where I know there's a lot is in Watsonville. I know there's a Varrio. It's even called Michoacán 14, I believe, or something like that. But not in San Jose.
Now, are you still staying in San Jose yourself?
I just moved out of San Jose 6 months ago.
But you live up north still or no?
Yes, up north still. I'm a 1 hour and 50 minutes from San Jose. But I lived there the whole time when
So even now to this day, would you still say I mean North California is your hometown?
Yes.
Now how do you view now that you're a family man, you went through all this stuff where you hated these guys who call themselves norteños, you were calling yourself sureños. How do you see them now as an adult and after going through all that fighting with them?
Well, I met a lot of them now, and even in the construction business. I met a lot of them out in the construction business, and the ones I've met, they're trying to do the same thing I'm trying to do, provide for their family. And I talk to them, and they're exactly the same like me. They're exactly like the same as my homeboys now. They're just trying to provide for their family.
That's right.
And I mean, I don't see them different anymore. I don't see them different at all. I don't have hate for them at all. Whatever conflicts I had with them, I left them all in the past, you know. And I'm about promoting the peace. I mean, I love it when I see a norteño at work and I can talk to him and have.
That's right, homie. That's right. Hell yeah.
Talk to your stuff, you know.
Yeah, for sure, brother. No, but the thing I hear though a lot, and I hear this from norteños, right? The ones who just don't want to make peace, because they'll say this. This is their argument. They say, you guys don't know what it is because we fight with them on the street, then we fight with them in prison. There's no peace, but now that's changed up in prison. We won't really get into it. And my thing is, I tell them it's a gang thing. It's you guys just see it more and say, oh, it's a gang thing because when I hear some Northerners say, is there an earthquake happening? When I hear some Northerners say, I got no beef with you Southsiders down south, but these guys up here are in scraps or some shit. I'm like, nah, dude, that doesn't make any sense. That's like me saying, oh, I want to make peace with this Varrio, but with this Varrio, I don't like him. I'm not going to make peace. So do you think there's going to be hopefully a little bit more of awakening where we can finally start coming together and get that monkey off our back?
Hopefully there is. And as the days pass by, I see more and more that movement getting pushed on putting all that shit to the side.
Right.
We gotta let it go because the norteños, they have a lot of hate because we dropped a lot of their bodies. You know?
Right.
But at the same time, they've dropped a lot of our bodies too. A lot of our homeboys died. And I mean, I can't live pissed off at the norteños because they killed my homeboy Wicked in 2009.
Right.
You know, I gotta let that shit go. That
yes,
shit
sir.
happened because we were living in that mentality.
Yes, sir.
In a world of fantasy that brought real consequences.
Yes, sir.
So if I still continue to live on that hate, that's something that happened in 2009, I'm never gonna have peace with them. But I gotta let that shit go. And to me, it's very important that there's peace because if I still continue to promote hate, like fuck these motherfuckers, they kill my homeboy Wicked, so they're gonna die, you know. If I keep promoting that shit, the ones that are gonna have to deal with it and go through it is my kids, my grandkids, my little sobrinos, all of them,
sir.
You know. So the more I push the issue to promote peace, raza unida, somos la misma gente. Let's get together and let's get stronger. You know, the better it's gonna be for my kids, for my nephews, for my family members, my generations coming on after me.
Your kinfolk, homeboy. Yeah, your kinfolk. And that's the thing I ask people. Like when sometimes I talk to somebody about making peace with certain neighborhoods, hell no. Like I'll be like, hey, fool, you want to send your kids to that war? No. I said, then why would you promote that war? It's something that we've all lost. And one thing I like to always kind of bring up is Japan and the United States. Japan, I want to say, did Pearl Harbor. They bombed us. We went over there and dropped a nuke on them. If those two countries came together, forgave each other, that's what generals and that's what they do. People go to war, people die. It's horrible, but is it, should we keep on dying just so we can admit that we were wrong? Because that's what it seems like to me. It's like we don't want to admit, hey, dude, we were wrong for the last 50 years fighting one another, and we need to stop fighting one another in order to get ahead.
Exactly. Yeah, man, and yeah, hopefully it happens up here, up north, and I mean, the more and more, like I said, the more the days pass by, I see a lot of people pushing that movement. I see a lot of minds changing. Even some of the people that I talk to, some of my homeboys and primos, because I have sobrinos and primos nowadays. Some of them are sureños and some of them are norteños.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, now even my family I have norteños, even sureños. And before no, we didn't. But I talk to them and I tell them, hey man, no vale la pena. And I tell them all the time, check it out, man. Especially up here north, check it out.
Right.
One of the things to me when I used to gangbang in the 90s was I knew that my enemy out here was still going to be my enemy in prison, right?
Right. Yeah.
And but now you're still going to gangbang up here up north. You either a norteño or a sureño is going to kill one or the other just to go to prison. So the older homies can tell them you have to have peace.
Yep.
So why not have that peace out here before you even go to prison?
Yes, sir.
When you can have that
Yes,
peace
sir.
while you're out here and enjoy life. Why are you gonna go take out somebody just to go in there and have peace? So just have that peace out here. Start it from out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It starts in the home, is what it is. It's something that's been, and I saw it in my neighborhood. I'm sure you saw it in your neighborhood. Everybody who's on here who's been in any kind of neighborhood for the last 10, 20 years, it's us raising our kids to hate the other side. And whether the other side is north, whether the other side is south, whether the other side is this barrio, next block, it doesn't matter. We teach our kids, not now, but our generations. We taught our kids, we taught our nephews, we taught our kids to hate the other barrios just because they're from that barrio. But just like we
Right.
did that, now we got to teach them, hey, dude, we were wrong. We raise them right. And I think that's the way we get out of this thing, man.
Exactly, man. Like you said, it all starts in the home, and that's exactly where I started. I started with my kids. My oldest son, he's a United States Marine. He's in.
That's
He's
right,
in
brother. Congrats.
Yeah, gracias. He's in Japan right now. He's 21 years old, and I started talking to him once because when I came out of prison, he was 8 years old, right? And I started in my home. I started telling him the truth. I told him, you know what? I was in prison because I made these stupid mistakes. I
Yes,
believed this
sir.
stupid thought. I used to believe this, and I used to truly think I was defending something, but it was all a lie. And I told him
Yeah,
all the
dude.
consequences I paid. And I
I,
told
I,
him, you
th-
guys want to live that life? Uh-huh.
well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I told him, if you guys want to live that life in prison and pay consequences, then go ahead and make bad choices. What I'm
Yes.
telling you as an
Yes.
experienced man that already made them, there's a different way. And I started teaching them differently. So my oldest son, like I said, he's a United States Marine. He has a plan, a vision, and I started in my house. My all my kids, I tell them about gangs and how bad they are and how much of a waste of time they are. And that at the end of the day, you don't gain nothing, you don't win nothing. Hey, Gil, I gang banged for 16 years. I
Right.
risked my life for 16 years. I try to
Right.
show my homies how down I was. And at the end of the day, the only price I got was jail time, was the tears of my jefita.
Yes, sir.
Tears day and night. Always worried. She had a blood spasm, something que le dio en la cabeza, like her head blew up, and she ended up in the hospital because de los
Oh
nervios
God.
that me and my brothers would give her, right? Because I have two other brothers too. They're doing very good as well. But I had a brother from Sureño too, from a different barrio. He
Right.
used to be a heroin addict as well, and all we did was bring pain and tears to our family, and
Yes.
that's all we did. Nothing that I can gain or that I can show right
Nah.
now that I can say I gained this from gangbanging.
Nah.
I won these medals. I I I built this house.
Yeah.
There's nothing that I can prove that's good that I gained from gangbanging. Nothing at all.
Yeah, brother. And I think for a lot of homies, Well, that's a hard pill to swallow. It really is, because after you go for 16 years, some guy, imagine if that night when you went to that Cinco de Mayo thing, imagine that night you would have took somebody's life and you would have eventually woke up in prison and said, what am I doing here? But you would have had nowhere to go. You would have been stuck with a life sentence. And that happens so many times. That's why you get a lot of the lifers in there that know what that ultimate price is the rest of your life. And they're telling the young guys, hey, dude, go out and stay out, man. It's a tough pill to swallow, man. And I want to thank you for coming on, Guero. If any of you guys in the comment section want to ask something real quick, we'll stay on for a little bit. Let me see. I'm going to try to put this phone number up there if somebody wants to call. And if they don't call, they don't call, man. Let's see what you got, Playboys. But it's a great story that needs to be heard, and I hope more guys come out and start telling their stories like you, because that's what the youth needs to see. The youth needs to see guys like you that went through that whole thing, believed it just like they do, and to finally come out and say, I gained nothing, because you don't. You go to every single hood's getting smaller. There's no hood getting bigger right now. Gentrification's taking over. No Varrio is getting bigger. I hate to break the news to you guys. And the retirement plan is horrible, homeboy. See what we got.
Yeah, man.
So saludos, American Cholo, supporting all the way. Well, that's what we're doing. So what we're going to do here real quick, we're going to end this thing, Guero. I want to give you the last talking points. Go ahead, baby. It's all you.
Yeah, well, más que nada, gracias for that opportunity to be able to use your platform to share this message to especially to the youngsters, the ones that are barely starting to think it's a beautiful thing to gangbang. It's not, man. It's not. It's not at all. It's at one point I was willing to give my life for my barrio. I was willing to do life in prison, and I really thought it was worth it at the moment, you know. But I was just lost in that mentality. I was just stuck in that ego. I was just stuck in that little thing where I wanted to show these group of people that were trying to oppress us that que eran los más chingones que ellos, that they were fucking with the wrong motherfuckers, you know. And I got stuck on that, on that pride, on that ego, you know. But that's one thing that if we learn to let go, that pride and that ego, we're going to be able to accomplish things that we will really be proud of, you know. To be able to make our wife happy, our jefitas happy. Que tu jefita diga, qué bueno, mijo, que agarras un buen trabajo. Estoy orgullosa de ti.
Yes, homie, yes.
Those are the things that I hear from my mom now. Like, qué bueno, mijo, que estás dando tu mensaje, you know. Que me da mucho gusto, mijo. And I want to see a lot of jefitas do that, you know. From the Norteños, from the Upstate Surenos, from the...
That's right, homeboy.
Man. The jefitas everywhere, man.
That's right, brother.
Promote that message and wipe tears away from the jefitas, man. Son las que más sufren.
That's right, brother.
That suffer the most out of all this gangbanging. Nuestro pinche machismo de querernos bien chingones to go and shoot another vato that's just like us, that raza.
That's right, brother.
Another jefita cried. We left kids without a dad, and our jefitas are crying because we're locked up.
That's right, homie.
To be proud of that. You can't be proud of that at all. So if you want to be a righteous man, if you want to do something proud for your family, get yourself a good job.
Man.
Go and rent your own apartment. If you can't buy a house, it's all good. Rent your own little place that you can call your place.
That's right, homie.
Take your hyena for a walk in the beach, you know. Take her to McDonald's. Take your kids to McDonald's or somewhere, you know. Enjoy life.
Enjoy life, homeboy.
That's it.
With that, there you go, baby. That's some great stuff. Mr. Guero, I want to thank you so much for coming on, Playboy. I want to thank you guys for coming in, tuning in. If anybody wants to get a hold of you, Guero, for an interview, how do they get a hold of you? Because I was looking for you for like 3 months, fool.
Yeah, man. If they get a hold of you, you got my personal number or at my email. They can send me an email to Salazar_1112@yahoo.com. Once again, it's Salazar SALAZAR_1112@yahoo.com.
Man, I appreciate you coming through. I appreciate you guys tapping in. Guero, stay on. We'll talk for a little bit. You guys have a great night. Subscribe if you like, and don't if you don't. There you go, Playboys. All right, let's end this bit.